Hi guys, to everyone who's listening, we are back with
Hello.
season 2 of Music Mandir, and we have a very special guest today who we are very excited to have. Everybody say hi to Sri and
Hello.
Jatin. We have Jatin. Of course, we have Jatin. We can't not have Jatin.
Yeah, we've been there for
And
a lot of the past episodes, but a warm welcome to Shri, singer-songwriter based from Mumbai, who's released a bunch of music actually, and we're gonna try and discuss as much as we can. He has two new releases out in 2020. We'd love for you to tell us a little bit about that music.
yeah,
Um, so I've released like two songs. One is Love Date, which came out sometime in July. The second one is Sawbar,
Okay,
which came out in October. So like both these singles are like completely like recorded, mixed and mastered in my bedroom. Like
right.
I mean, this is like the first time I've done that. Like I've
Yeah,
never like recorded my own stuff, let
yeah,
alone mixing or mastering it. It's mostly been my, phone where I'm like recording song ideas and like,
yeah,
working on the particular song and competing.
yeah.
But this was fun, and it turned out pretty well.
Right.
And both of them are like love
yeah.
songs because it's lockdown and like every day like the news is like really bad. I mean, it's been the case for the last 6, 7 years. So I'm gonna be very subtle about it because you never know,
Yeah.
you might go in jail or something. And I've had like a few threats once in a while as well, like at a show or something. But so anyway, like the lockdown happened, and then I for the first few months I was like, okay, if I'm gonna die, let me just like die, while I'm writing my own songs and releasing them. And then like I kind of like figured out it's not that bad. Like I have like cousins and everyone, like my sister who also like has sort of a subject related to all this shit that is going on.
Right.
We figured like it's I mean I kind of like knew the history of the world in the sense that we had bubonic plague before. So
Right.
if I don't die like soon, then I might die like in a few years because cities are the most densely
So death is
populated.
a very good motivation.
I'm not really like the kind of person who's like like all in love with death and all that stuff. Like I'm not like into the dark shit, but like ever since like the lockdown has started, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna like
Never
it's like
know.
you have the Grim Reaper, which is like
Yeah,
running behind you, and I'm
right
like, fuck
behind
Yeah.
you, I'm
you.
gonna write music. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's
like that way it started, like, writing my own songs and like recording, mixing, mastering, like the
correct,
whole thing.
correct. So, just a quick follow-up, but how have you been? So, have you used? Have you been getting your songs mastered earlier, or you've always just managed your music completely by yourself?
So, I've always like produced my own stuff.
Right.
My first EP, which I don't like market at all because it's the audio quality is pretty poor.
Yeah.
It was recorded in a podcast studio, like that was in 2017.
Wow.
And I had a friend who was working at a podcast studio, and like he's now at Berkeley.
Right.
And that guy played the guitar, and I think he played the electric guitar and he played the keyboards on it, and we
Right.
recorded in like 6 hours, 3 songs. But then my second EP and my first single,
Right.
which came out in 2019. So both of them were studio recorded. Um, uh, the, the Only Find EP, which came out in January of 2019, that was crowdfunded. I did a
Correct.
crowdfunding the year before.
That's super.
And then Gulam, which was my first single, which came out, I
Yeah.
also got it like recorded in the studio and mixed and mastered like properly.
So the
So
the first EP that you're talking about, which was recorded with your friend, the podcast one, that's the one called Shri.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I have to say,
There's
you wouldn't,
horrible picture of my side face with like
dude. Trust me, man. It's nothing the way you're describing it. Because firstly, I heard it today in the morning, and
Mm.
I would never imagine that it was recorded in a so-called poor environment. It sounds
Yeah.
absolutely
No
amazing.
credits to Rishabh. That he's the guy who
Right.
you know I even went to his place and we got like a couple of parts done. So
Yeah.
that was like because we were people who used to go for open mics. So
Right.
in 2016 until 2016, I used to have like a lot of stage fright.
Correct.
And I used to be the kind of person, like, even in school I was part of the singing group. Like, you have the prayer thing, and
Yeah, yeah, of
my
course.
I remember like giving one speech back in like ninth or tenth. It was like daily news or something, and
Right.
my legs were shaking as if like I'm there in like -5 degrees Celsius weather or something. And that remained. So like that remained. Even like I went for one open mic in 2014, and
Right.
I think I did okay, but
Yeah.
I was like, I must have fucked it up so badly. I'm not gonna go there ever again.
But that's
Then
the
I went
thing,
there
like
again.
you always have so much of self-doubt. So, wherever and whatever you're doing, you're constantly like pulling yourself down and like, I must have been bad, even though people are telling you, dude, it was great.
Yeah, yeah. But then you're like, I mean, when you tell yourself you have to do it because you want to do it, or
Yeah.
like it's something you're going to learn a lot from, then
Right.
then I think if you find the courage, then you are able to, like, figure
Yeah.
things out. But
Yeah.
I think it's more interesting how I went again for another open mic in 2015, and then I
Yeah.
didn't go again for another year. And then again in 2016 I started, like, so I
So would
forced myself to go for open mics. Like, I went for like 30, 40, 50 open mics in 2016 for like one
right.
month.
Yeah.
That's
So
how.
would you consider your stage fright to be any less, or is it even more than before now?
It's not there at all anymore. Like, so
Right.
after like
Yeah.
going for like 40, 50 open mics in 2016,
It
like
it doesn't
Vasu
matter.
Sharma used to, it doesn't matter. And also
Yeah.
because you have all these musicians around you, right? Like,
Yeah.
who are like
Yeah.
really good musicians, and they tell you that you're really amazing. You're freaking
Yeah.
amazing, and you kind of know your strengths, but you doubt those strengths,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Right.
open mics help you to, like, get away from
For
those
sure.
self.
For sure. Yeah. That was super interesting. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about like your last single, Sau Baar, which has this really interesting mix of Hindi vocals and guitar.
Yeah.
So, is that something that you kind of plan it out, thinking, or is it completely natural
No,
and it just comes out
it
the way it is?
it just happened last year. I think I wrote like the basic song idea and like the first few lines, like माना मेरे flaws है, मैं किसी बॉलीवुड का हीरो नहीं, हाँ मैं थोड़ा सा चूतिया हूँ, तो
Yeah.
ये so
Yeah.
those lines and the chorus, it came to me sometime in towards the end of 2019, and
Right.
I was working on Gulam at that point of time.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
like creatively, my mind was into what was going on in my personal life, and
Correct.
the song that came out as a result of it.
Correct.
And I think it worked out pretty well. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it
even
definitely worked out.
So even Sawbar was completely mixed, mastered by you in at home.
Yeah, yeah. Guitars, the backing vocals, everything was like done at home, and
Super.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was
there's
crazy. Like,
yeah, there's this really interesting new culture of the bedroom producer, the bedroom musician. That I mean, I think now technology
Yeah.
has become so accessible that people are able to just make awesome music like just on their own. But at the same time, there's so much of self-learning that goes into the process. Also, it's like the more you do, the more kind of learn
yeah,
the tricks of the trade.
of
And
course, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
yeah,
You get to learn a lot, but I have to be honest, I absolutely fucking hate doing this shit. The whole sound engineering bit, sitting in front of a computer and like looking at frequencies and like pulling this down and pulling that up, and
yeah.
like I just want to throw the laptop away. Like, I don't want to do that shit. I want to write music. I want to play in front of people, talk to
Yeah.
them.
So
You know,
you'd rather outsource like all of that stuff to someone you trust.
yeah, like
Just make
if
it
the
sound
world
good.
had a different economic system, or like if I was like rich as fuck, like 50 Cent
Yeah.
and shit, and like motherfucker with like chains and all, I'd be like, like giving it out like to people, but you can't do
Yeah.
that. So like
Yeah.
you have limits, and you try to like fool around with the limits that you have. So
Correct.
you're like,
Correct.
okay, I mean, these are the limits I have. So what do I do about putting
Right.
out my music?
And also, I think that there's an interesting point of the cost side of things, right? So a lot of people think that
Yeah.
mixing and mastering is not that
It
big of
costs,
a deal, but I don't know rates, but it can be
it
very
costs a
costly.
lot. I
Yeah.
mean, especially if you're like from a middle class family, right? Like,
Yeah.
living in the suburbs of Bombay.
Yeah. I think you don't need to say middle class after that. You just You just have to say living in the suburbs, and then everyone immediately imagines, all kinds of things.
Yeah, like so. I mean, you have to you have to be very focused and planned about you have to plan out your finances in terms of where you're gonna invest it. Like, are you gonna invest it into buying air tickets before you do a show, and then you're gonna
Correct.
expect the show to go well, and then you maybe recoup some money, or
Yeah.
you're gonna I mean, however it is, and but then again, I think there are certain things which are happening right now in the Indian independent music industry, which
Hmm.
is you have like a lot of young people like you guys. You guys have started doing this whole review and shout out to musicians who are
Yeah.
writing great music and doing this particular thing. So
Yeah.
you have these things happening. You have like a lot of young people coming together to form labels, to
Correct.
form artist
Yeah.
management. Because we always look at the fact that okay, we have so many artists, we have such good music, but none of them are like making a mark, or like their music
Right.
is not getting heard.
Right.
But you have to look at the fact that I mean, of course, the artist is making the art. That is never going to be taken away from the artist. But you also need each and every other thing to make it into an industry, to be able
Correct.
to make sure that the art is the artist is not just making the art, but he's also able to market it and make a living out of it.
Correct.
And people around him who are like working for him are also able to make a living out of it.
Yeah.
So you have all those things developing right now. It's
Yeah.
happening in a very slow manner, but it's happening nevertheless.
Yeah.
That's
I think what it boils down to is also the ecosystem which is just around the artist, right? So it's very easy to like question, and you'll hear this often that, oh, this guy's music is so good, I wish more people
right.
hear it, but it doesn't happen that way, right? You can.
It needs a whole startup kind of ecosystem, like where
Yeah.
you have financing for labels or for whatever. You
Correct.
have teams which are like working on who are like experts in digital marketing, or people who are experts in
Yeah.
networking, or so. I mean, because I mean, from my experience, like doing all of these things alone, and like I'm like I told you, when it comes to sound engineering, I fucking hate it. Right? I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw
Yeah.
throw the laptop
Yeah.
away. It's
Yeah.
pretty much the same case with everything else I'm doing, because and that kind of but then you have to again tell yourself that this is my music and I have to do it, and you have to
Yeah.
push yourself, and that kind of takes away a lot of your time which you can spend writing and like creating
No,
stuff.
I mean for sure, because of the lack of the ecosystem, it's like there's a lot of additional pressure on the artist, where you have no other option but to produce it yourself. You have no other option but to market it yourself. And I think like how much can a person do, right? Like there are people who absolutely hate social media, and it's almost
So
become.
I hate social media, but I force myself to be there on social media. Then
Yeah,
I go on
because
Twitter and I get outraged. Like I'm like fuck you, like fuck you all.
yeah,
And then I
yeah,
come
no,
on
it's.
Instagram like yeah.
Yeah, no, those are complex systems, man, and like maneuvering them, and to be aware, and plus then do the right thing, and then constantly do it. I think like the pressures is just ridiculous. Like I think it's just better. I mean, it would have been so much better if the musician can just make the music and like he'll just not care. Like people like it.
Yeah, it's like one person is doing 10 people's job,
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
on their own.
But like
But you know
It's
what's
crazy.
gonna happen? I think the other thing that's gonna happen is that artists are again gonna be lazy. They're gonna like start
yeah.
drinking and all the bad things. You're not supposed to drink. You're just supposed to have like shoot the pani.
Yeah, yeah.
But
He's supposed to. It's just vocal exercise,
you
right?
know,
Like
I'm
warm
talking
water.
about the other. No, I'm talking about the other extreme, which was the main focus of the 70s rock and roll era, right?
Right.
Like until because I mean artists were like looked at as these lazy bunch of folks who are like just
Right.
partying, and
Mm.
I mean I think it should be somewhere in the middle. You should be focused about what's going on in other parts of your work, even if you're an artist who's got a label and everything,
Yeah.
because that keeps you
Mm-hmm.
interested, that keeps you hooked, that makes you learn new things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I think like it's. I mean, the industry per se, or even the independent scene. Although there are a lot of changes happening, but I think it'll constantly be evolving. Like
Yeah.
no one really knows. Like I think the whole social media thing's gonna collapse. Like I personally feel, because everyone's like just like pushing themselves out on like so many.
Yeah. And they have to do it in a very edgy manner because the way the algorithm works, the
Yeah,
way
yeah,
so it's actually. I mean, I remember having a conversation with someone, and I don't want to disclose it, but it's pretty much like I mean, if I'm releasing, let's say I'm the kind of artist who doesn't want to like if let's say if I'm releasing a song which is related to a socio-political issue,
yeah,
I don't want to do a 3 posts a day, 7 days a week
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
focused marketing PR thing just on that particular issue. I mean,
Correct.
that's not. I mean, I'm a person. I'm an artist. Even if I'm a liberal, I'm progressive.
Yeah,
I don't want to keep harping about the same
yeah,
particular topic. There's a lot of bad things happening, and if
yeah,
I do that, then that's ingenuine. And as an artist, I don't
Yeah.
think I will be able to write songs that I'll feel that
yeah,
okay, I haven't been honest about what I'm writing.
yeah,
So you have those things going on in an
Yeah.
artist
yeah.
mind as well, and you have
Wasn't Gulam actually something about this? Like
it's
slavery in
sort
society and stuff?
it's sort of it's a very subtly
Yeah.
expressed track. I didn't want to be like very aggressive
Yeah.
Right.
with the track,
Very
so I just
mysterious.
very mysterious. Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah.
keep that intact within the track. So
Yeah.
it's like खूनी की तलाश में शिकारी हजार
Yeah.
खून से
It's
ये
almost,
जुल्मे फौज लिखे हुआ है.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's deep stuff, man.
very interesting.
Yeah, I wanted people to trip. You are center of whatever on it, and you think about it, and let the song make you question yourself.
Correct.
Your there's nothing wrong in questioning yourself. You may come back to the same answers. You may have a different answer. You may find different answers for different contexts. And
Mm,
I mean, but that conversation that people generally don't have, let alone with others, but even with themselves.
right.
And because I know Gulam is not going to be listened to by people on the lower spectrum of socio-political pyramid, right? It's going to be listened to
Yeah.
people who are educated, who are on Apple Music, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. So I wanted them to, like be shaken or stirred by
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. True.
So,
It's very
on,
stirring. It's very.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, and I was thinking how you journeyed from Gulam's eeriness and mysteriousness to something like Sawbar or Love
Uh,
Date. Like how did you make that journey? Because it's so opposite, but at the same time, it has a characteristic you in it.
um, I would say so every year at the start of the year. So basically, I'm that typical Indian guy who tries to not get pissed off about shit that is happening around the world and down in the streets.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
every year, like there's like a little period when I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna write a Facebook status saying fuck you and fuck you, and I do that. And then I'm like, fuck man, I don't want to fight with people. Like
right.
sensitive person. Like I'm sure people are sensitive as well. I don't want to do that. And then I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna write a song. And
Yeah.
then after I'm like done writing a song and I'm gonna go into a studio. The state of mind that I'm in is completely different. I'm like broken over someone and like fuck. I mean, again, not again, again, write the song again. And so while I'm like doing the production of whatever serious song that I'm doing, which I don't think I'm gonna put out now,
Right.
the album that I'm planning is gonna be a love song album. But then I kind of like I'm like, okay, I'm broken over someone. I should write a song, and I write a song, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, this is not good. I need to write another one which might be good enough for release.
Yeah.
So that's how it happens. But like I actually have a shitload of song, and like I really wish I didn't have to like do everything,
Yeah.
and I just write songs and like write the lyrics, write new tunes, and experiment with the recording aspect maybe, and like
Yeah.
put stuff out. But manage, I manage.
So
It's awesome.
I had a question. So a lot of your songs, especially your first EP, Shri, have a lot of piano pieces in it. So
Yeah.
are you playing all the instruments, or do you have,
I'm just playing my acoustic guitar and
right?
I'm singing. So like as a songwriter, that's what I used to do then. And Rishabh plays the keys. He
Okay.
was learning the keyboard at that point of time because of the university he was going in for music.
Right.
And he played the electric guitar, he played the keys, he played an extra acoustic guitar part on Yesterday's Style, if I'm not wrong. There's this particular part which he plays, I don't remember. Um, and yeah, I mean, those are the only instruments that's there.
So
In that
shout out to Rishabh if he's
uh,
somewhere on a job well done on the EP, man.
I'll share it with him. I'll share it with him.
Yeah,
He'll be
yeah,
happy.
yeah, absolutely. So another question that just I was just thinking about is I've noticed you. Is it possible that you enjoy the song writing process a little more than probably making the song or completing songs? Because a lot of times songwriting goes with thoughts and poems and you
Uh,
can't really attach a tune to it. Like it could just be words flowing out. So is that something that you deal with, or do you just write stuff and leave it and not maybe make a song out of it?
all of them above, like all of the things you mentioned happen. Like it
Yeah,
depends on on the song idea that I'm working on. Because
right.
there are times when I've like made a particular tune and I've not looked at it for like 1 year or 2 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Or like I've written half a song and then I've come back like a year or two later. There are songs which I've like completed in like half an hour.
yeah.
So
It just flows out.
yeah, it
Yeah.
depends. But now, like, I'm trying to like right now, what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to like make sure I finish the melodic structure, like the basic melodic structure of the song
Correct.
ideas that I have,
Yeah,
and then because that allows me to work on multiple different song ideas, which is multiple different songs. So I can like make my I can do more work in less time that way. So I
okay.
can go back for the lyrics. I might be taking a dump. I might have my notebook with me, and and so I mean you have all those options, right? To
Yeah,
write
yeah.
Yeah.
and like
You never know when ideas strike, right? Could
Yeah,
be.
that's when the best ones come out.
when people with experience know it really well.
But it's super cool, man. Any kind of timelines that you have figured out for your new music coming out, and
I
anything.
try to push myself. Like I tell myself that I want to release everything like on this particular month of this
Right.
particular year, and I know it's just gonna get delayed. Like eventually,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
things are gonna get delayed. So
Yeah.
at least like by giving a date, I'm able to like uh, maybe like not
Yeah.
delay it even further.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
have like I mean I want to put out this album. So like right now, I'm writing 5 songs right now, and I wrote like 3 or 4 more songs which I haven't released in the last few months.
Okay.
And I intend to like complete some of my older tracks, rewrite a few of my older tracks which are not out yet.
Yeah.
So all in all, I wish to have like 12 to 18 songs ready.
Mm.
So what I want to do is I have to figure out the financing bit. How
Yeah.
do I finance the album? And I would like to have an album with a B side, but then again, it's 2021, so people do not have that
Absolutely,
that love
man. Absolutely.
thing. And
I
like
mean, the whole concept of a B-side, it just sounds
uh, uh,
so 80s and 90s.
80s.
Like there'd be a
So
couple of
my
people.
other but I've never listened to an album in full, but like I've always like picked out like songs from there.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I can do is which is there which is something I'm planning of is that I can release an acoustic album because all of these songs are gonna be Hindi songs and most of them are gonna be love songs. Like
Right.
pretty much all of them are gonna be love songs. Like
Right.
and release like an A side and a B side as an acoustic
Okay.
version of all of it. And then like before I come out with the proper album, maybe I'll you know figure out how to like
Yeah.
get it out. Uh,
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have like a little time issue. I think we're crossing like
yeah.
40 minutes, I think. So we have about 10
Okay.
Oh.
minutes. We have about
I
10
think yeah, we
minutes.
have some
I'm very
questions.
curious. I have one question for you. I'm very curious how you got into music. Like, was it something you studied or like
No,
did it
I never
happen?
studied. I always used to sing at home and like my everyone was into music. So like I don't look at myself in you know in let's say people have different identities, right? Like for me, my
Yeah.
identity is like a full citizen based in Bombay with parents who are from a Bengali household.
Right.
So I got a lot of music from them, and then because I
Yeah.
grew up in a very multicultural scenario, I also had Bollywood, and then
Mm-hmm.
Sufi, and then Atif Aslam, and all that stuff was
Yeah.
also there. While
Yeah.
Linkin Park, and uh,
Yeah.
so all
Yeah.
that happened in indie music, and then metal and heavy metal, and now I listen to everything, like all kinds of music. And
Yeah.
I could always sing. I started learning the guitar in 11th because I needed to stop going for football because I had to go for IT coaching. Then I went to Kota for a year, and I carried my guitar with me. And then I came back. I was doing engineering for a year where I wrote my first, no, not my first few songs, but like my first few songs that I played for others. I wrote the college fest anthem called Protsahan, played the guitar and everything as
That's
well. We
beautiful.
Oh,
recorded in a small
yeah.
studio in Dhule district of Maharashtra.
Right.
College was an off campus. So all that shit happened, and then I came back again to Bombay. I was out for like 2 years, like Kota and that. And then I was at Andrews, and I started making music.
Yeah.
And in 2016, I was supposed to do my masters. Like my parents wanted me to like get my masters done, get my
Yeah.
PhD done, have like a big ass thing written in the background. That, but I was like, fuck all that. I'm gonna be the least educated person in my family and rather like pursue music and
Goals.
peace of mind.
I think that needs to be the goal of the year, man. Just
Yeah.
like I think there's an entire generation waiting to be inspired by this podcast, which is to be the least educated person
He's
in my
educated.
family. I think that's beautiful,
It's not
man.
something to be proud of. It's not something to be proud of because it's risky. And I mean, I would recommend everyone to have like a master's degree as well,
Right.
and make sure you have like B plan and C plans and everything. And plus the fact that we are privileged enough, yeah. Like I mean, this is something
Yeah.
I always knew, but I never kind of like would say out loud. But we are
Right.
privileged enough to pursue whatever we're pursuing. Like if we want to
Correct.
do a startup, we take like some money from our parents and like we give it to the CA and sort out the registration and everything. So
Correct.
we do have the privilege to pursue it, but I also think if we do have the privilege to pursue it, we should do it in the most honest manner, and
Right.
we should always try to contribute, instead of like telling people that, oh, you couldn't succeed because you're poor, you're
Yeah.
from a very rural background or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are like just that stuff
No,
that we often come across.
absolutely golden points, man.
Yeah.
Makes a
I
lot of
should talk
sense.
more about my music, man. Shit,
Stay in
I
school.
started talking about like
Totally, man. Like, we'd love to do like a part two, especially if when your new music comes out, we'd love to have
Yeah.
you
yeah,
back on the
for sure,
podcast. And I just wanted to
for
ask
sure.
a
Yeah.
quick question about, a little bit of your experience about the crowdfunding that you did for your second album. What was that like, and are there any learnings for someone who's planning to do a crowdfunding in the future?
I did it all alone. Like I did it
Yeah.
by myself.
Right.
It was it killed me. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking stressful. I would recommend if somebody wants to do it, have like a team of 4 or 5 people,
Correct.
delegate, like have a proper
Mm-hmm.
plan it out. Like I planned it out like for 3 months,
Yeah.
and but then when you're implementing it, make sure you're not doing it alone, because if you're a musician, you not only have the music stuff, but you have to contact each and every person, and that's like contacting 4,000, 5,000 people,
Right.
and like contacting a few people twice, making lists and fuck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's worth it because I think people want to like spend on
Support.
different,
Yeah.
support different kinds of like stuff that is
Yeah.
happening on the world,
Yeah.
taking place.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
think it's
True.
Yeah. So awesome, man. You wanna maybe talk a little bit about, not talk a little. You already spoke about like the new music, but where people can find you on social media if you have your music out for sale on some places, you can
for sure, for
go
sure.
for it.
Linktree, link.tr. Oh, was it? No. Oh,
No,
fuck.
we'll we'll
No, it's
we'll we'll
li
we'll, we'll
We'll
Yeah,
put
yeah,
it in
just
include
put
it.
the.
it down.
Yeah, we put it in the
Yeah, yeah.
description.
It's,
I,
it's actually, forget it. Like, you just look for Shri Gulam or Shri the Only Fine, whichever platform you use, and you'll find
awesome.
it. Otherwise, it's difficult, or otherwise, like, obviously, like, these guys are gonna, like, promoting shit.
Music Mandir is at your service.
Everywhere.
You guys are like
Spotify,
amazing.
Apple Music,
Shout out, you are having a podcast. This is like I'm really honored to be like, a
Oh
part of
man, I
this.
mean,
we're very happy to have you.
pleasure is ours.
No, I'm serious. Like I want to thank you guys, like
Yeah.
more than you want to thank me, because I know you want to thank me. I'm like the I
No,
want to thank you.
we'll definitely take the thank you because we don't get a lot of it.
Yeah, we don't get it, man.
We'll gladly take it.
Awesome. Thank you.
No, but
All right.
it's lovely, man. Hope to hear your music very
For sure.
soon. All the best, and hope you guys enjoyed this episode, which should be out on
And
YouTube
yes.
and Spotify and bunch of other places. So that's it. Thanks a lot, Shri, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
See
Bye.
you.